Top questions I get asked about living in Korea. First question is the most popular. Do they like black people? Honestly, I would say yes. I've had a positive experience being here, being black. And of course, it's not been all sunshine and rainbows. Like, I've definitely not been hired for a job because I was black. I've definitely gotten a lot of jobs and other opportunities because I was black. But for the most part, Korean people think black people are pretty cool. They're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to take pictures with you. They're going to want to dance with you, stuff like that. Especially if you're a black.
So this content creator, he's been living in Korea for a while. He makes excellent content. As always, I link the original creator down below. He's absolutely right. A lot of positives, especially being black and living in South Korea. And he mentioned that he has not gotten some jobs for being black. And I understand why a lot of black people in Korea are very frustrated especially when they see advertisements for English teachers and it says like no blacks or whites only. Let me give you my perspective about that. I am super happy when I see those advertisements. Ecstatic. If I was a job seeker, wouldn't you want to know right at the bat you are not welcome there? Like, I would want to know right away. Like, hey, we don't want no black people here. Oh, hey, we're only looking for white English teachers here. I love those. I love those advertisements because, God forbid, they don't put that in there. You apply, you waste your time, or even worse, you get hired. Now you're in a super toxic situation. Super toxic situation. Is racism good? Absolutely not. But I would rather know right up front if that is the situation. Let's draw a clear line in the sand if you're that way or not. So that is my perspective about that. And I really wanted to share that.
Person that can speak Korean, like, that's even better. I would say the biggest discrimination because I was black. I've definitely gotten a lot of jobs and other opportunities because I was black. Well, for the most part, Korean people think black people are pretty cool. They're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to take pictures with you. They're going to want to dance with you, stuff like that. Especially if you're...
It's very true. Pictures, I ain't dancing though. You're not gonna catch me dancing with no. I ain't doing no dancing and singing it. I ain't doing it.
A black person that can speak Korean, like, that's even better. I would say the biggest discrimination would really come from where you're from. Like, I've seen a difference of how I'm treated for being African American versus black people from other places. But overall, I would say no one's actually like been mean because I'm black. They've never been like, hey, shut up, blackie, or something like that. It's more so Koreans versus foreigners, and that includes everybody, which is completely.
The Black American, Canadian, English-speaking countries versus being black from Africa, I can definitely relate to what he's saying. This is one of the reasons why Koreans ask, where are you from? And I always tell my students, don't ask anybody where they're from. Because when like back home in Canada or like even in America, when we ask like where you're from, we mostly mean sometimes like the city or like your background because we're just genuinely curious. However, in Korea, I'm not saying they're not curious, but they're more spec driven and they're trying to put you in a category very quickly. That's how Koreans are. It's Confucianism. It's in their culture. It's a group culture. So I do see how Koreans and the society in general treat black Americans, Canadians, English from like England, from the blacks from like Nigeria, Ghana, etc. I do see a clear difference.
Different than when you're in America, which y'all already know how that can be. Is it safe for LGBTQ foreigners? I would say yes and no. Safe in the sense that nobody's going to go out of their way to harm you, of course. No, in a social sense. For the most part, as a foreigner, nobody really cares.
This is a lot of skincare, man. This is a lot of skin. Your skin looks really good though. But this is a lot. I've never done I don't think I've even seen one of those since I was a kid, and my eyes were like, Mom, I had to do like I don't know what, an eye drop. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm lost right now.
But you have to remember there are no discrimination laws here. Therefore, you can be fired from your job if they find out that you're gay. There's no protection against that. But I would say for the most part, nobody really cares if you're gay here. And this is speaking about foreigners. In Korea, it is still taboo here. So just, of course, be smart about it and still be aware of your surroundings. Is it realistic to come here for modeling? Yes. But I would say if you're going to come here for modeling, I've made other videos.
It's a lot of skincare again. There's another one?
about this as well too. You need to have that hustle in you. Nobody's going to sit there and give you jobs, whether you have an agency or not. You need to constantly be putting yourself out there. You need to be good at saving money because you can do a job and not get paid up to 90 days later. And you need to build your network. Making connections will get you further than any agency will. It can be a glamorous job, but the agencies here will take advantage of you if you let them. What is dating?
He must be a model the way he's doing everything. He must be a model. And he's correct. If you are a foreigner here, you do have a lot more advantages. This is why I don't understand why why foreigners be out here complaining how hard life is in Korea. My fat ass got offered like a modeling thing, and I'm like chunky, big in Korea. One of my other friends, he has gotten work. He just went to like a Thursday party or like somewhere like a club. And a girl approached him, gave him a card, and then like 2 weeks later, he was doing like the Latte Giants advertising or something like that, or he was doing some other sports advertising. He just came to teach English, just like that. So, and I can only imagine, this is Busan. If you go to Seoul, yeah, probably the competition is more intense, but there's probably more opportunities as well.
In Korea really like. I've been here for 7 years and I've had 3 very serious relationships since being here. Dating can be hard as a foreigner, especially a gay black foreigner. A lot of people want to experience you. They want to see what it's like to be with someone like you, but they don't want to take it anywhere further. And you have to remember being gay is still taboo here. So a lot of people still live with their families. They're closeted, things like that too. As far as straight dating goes.
Let's take out the gay part. I think what he said also applies to just normal dating as well in Korea. Especially for women, I hear a lot of women say like, yeah, they want to date you for the experience and they want nothing more than that. They're never going to introduce you to their parents or anybody of significance, like meaningful. They're just trying to cap you at a level and that's it.
I know it can also be such a struggle, but it does happen. I've got friends who have gotten married. I have friends that have been in very long-term relationships. So it is possible. Just be open-minded. But I wouldn't come here expecting to find my Korean oppa. I would come here with the intention of meeting new people and building connections. Is it hard to make friends or a community here? In my case, no, it hasn't been hard making any friends here. Of course, I did have to go through the whole thing of finding my actual friend group. I went through a few different groups first before I found my solid tribe. As long as you're putting yourself out there and you're hanging out in places where people are actually trying to meet other people, I think you're going to be fine. Now, if you're an introvert, I really don't know what to tell you. But there are other introverts and y'all can find things to do as well too. But hanging out.
Again, the best advice I can give people who come to Korea and want to meet people, widen your network as much as you can. And exactly what he said. Introverts, I don't believe in introverts, by the way. I believe in socially lazy people. I don't believe in introvert, extrovert. It's just how lazy are you when being social and how active you can be when being social. And the reason why I use the word lazy, because you can be physically lazy and you can change that. Just how you can be socially lazy, you can change it. You need to put yourself out there more as what he says. And you need to start going to events where you got to pay to get in. I'm not talking about clubs. I'm talking about actual events that are created, like wine events, business events. Spend a little money, pay, because it filters out the weirdos and it leaves just more chance to meet genuine people who are actually there for that particular event or whatever it's for. And they're not usually looking for anything else. But it's a much better way to meet people naturally.
On spaces that bring you joy and stepping out of your comfort zone, you never know what can happen. Is it expensive to live in Korea? I would say for the most part, no. Everything here is pretty affordable. I think the most expensive thing is going to be the housing deposit. Sometimes if you're trying to buy like organic fruits and vegetables and things like that, that stuff's going to be expensive. But as far as like food, activities, everything is pretty affordable. Are foreigners treated differently?
So is Korea affordable? Absolutely. Try living in Toronto, Vancouver, New York, LA. Again, I can only give you my perspective from where I came from, which is Toronto. The Toronto Fun Police is in full force. Toronto Fun Police? Is the Toronto Fun Police? Yeah, it's called Prices. The prices stop you from having fun. And I'm not joking. You can't in Busan, or I'm pretty sure in Seoul. In Busan, you can go to the beach. You can get a bottle of wine for like $40 Canadian. It's like, I don't know, like $30 American. You can right on the terrace on the beach. You can get a bottle of wine and just chill. You can have a nice night out, day out for like well over $100 easily. In Toronto, these big cities, just getting an Uber there, or if you're driving the parking there, can wipe out your budget. Super affordable in Korea.
Based on how they look, I would say yes. Everybody is treated differently based on how they look in Korea. Being attractive is a currency here. I know you guys have heard of something called pretty privilege, and that exists to the highest degree in Korea, which is why you see a lot of people really taking care of themselves, doing skincare, everything. The more attractive you are, the more doors open for you in Korea, and that's just the truth of the matter. I'm sure you guys have heard, like in certain places, let's say Hongdae, for instance, they have an age cutoff limit. If you're attractive, that does not apply to you. If you go to a restaurant and the staff finds you attractive, they're gonna give you free services, free foods, things like that. So if you really want opportunities here, make sure you're taking care of yourself. But I gotta go to work, so if you guys have any more questions about what it's like to live here in Korea, drop it in the comments below, and I'll make another video like this.
He's absolutely right with the pretty privilege. And it's not just women. Like, and to be honest, some people don't like it. I like it. I like it because it forces you to take care of yourself. It forces you to take care of yourself. And if there's like a lower level, yeah, it's higher in Korea, but what's the expression? A higher tide raises all boats. So when you're in Korea, you should be more motivated. Forget about anybody else's standard, to raise your standard of taking care of yourself. Give you a quick story. This was years ago. Like, I mean, like my first year in Korea. I met this Korean girl. Very nice. We're 12 years later, still in touch. And very good looking girl. She actually looked like one of those K-pop singers or whatever. And again, her English wasn't the best, so she's speaking as directly as she can. And we met up, and she said, you don't, I met many foreigners, but you don't smell. And I was like, huh? Excuse me? She's like, you don't have no smell, you smell good. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? She's like, I met so many foreign guys and they all smell. So, me and her are just friends. We'd stay friends. However, very good looking Korean girl. That means she was trying to date a foreign guy. All these guys had chances and failed because they never took a shower before you went out to meet her. You smelled. And it's not the first time I'll give you many stories, not today, but throughout this journey. You gotta do upkeep. You gotta do upkeep in Korea. Let me know your thoughts below. As always, I always link the original creator down below. Keep up to date with what's happening in Busan, Seoul, and beyond with the free K360 newsletter with a click down below. As well, the Busan Cheat Day Party happening at the Bay 101 on May 30th. As always, thank you guys. See you in the next video.